Hello, welcome to today's video, and I have found out something absolutely amazing, and that is that you can use the boost in the Super Formula car in qualifying. I had absolutely no idea in the first race that we could use the boost, so we're going to go again and see what we can do. Okay then, so you join us at the end of our first attempt at qualifying in our first race. If you look down to the bottom right corner of the screen, as we come around the final corner of the track then, you can see I haven't used any of that boost at all. So we set a lap, and to be honest, it wasn't too bad a lap, but we were 7/10 off the lead and down in 12th place, and I couldn't really work out just why we were down so far, because I still at this point did not realise that we were able to use the boost during qualifying. So a quick run through the grid then, starting in 12th place of course, and it's a grid start for this one, so we're going to need to have the traction control on 1. To be honest, we get the best pull away off the line, like the best reaction time I think I've ever had in a grid start race. But as we start to get up to speed then, there's a bit of carnage up ahead. We get hit, we manage to just about hold on to the car, and let's have a look at the replay and see what happens. So we're on board with TX3 McG, and he basically turns the traction control off just a little bit too early, gets a load of wheel spin, hits the wall, and unghosts just as he hits the wall for some reason. So we'll see it here and we'll slow it down. This is on board with me, and as he hits the wall there, you just see his car unghosts as we hit it. So very, very unusual. I'm not sure why the game ghosted him and then unghosted as he came into my path. But anyway, we managed to survive. Obviously there's no damage on turned on for this race. So taking the inside line for turn 1 and turn 3 then, as we see Treviso up ahead gets a 2-second penalty, which means that we'll be able to pass him if we can stay close enough as we get to the penalty serving line. So we've got the inside line for this corner then as well, with No Limits Juanma, I think that is, going up the outside there. And there's a bit of contact, but we pull out. We don't want to take advantage of a little bit of contact there that was, well, I don't think it was really our fault, but just a bit of a coming together. And then another car gets up the inside of us as we go round the very fast right-hander at the top of the hill then. But there's a number of cars with penalties, and we're going to zoom past them all, threading the needle there down into the hairpin, and we just about managed to make that without making contact as a car comes up our inside, but we get better traction on the exit and manage to cover that position off then. So up into 10th place as we come around the final couple of corners of the first lap then. And I think it's fair to say that was probably, I think it can only be described as a very messy first lap. So yeah, it was a bit carnagey down there in the middle of the pack as we started that race. But hopefully now we can settle down into a bit of a rhythm and start to work our way forward and gain a little bit of time. So end of lap 2 then, as we're coming around heading towards the final chicane. And this chicane was an absolute nightmare in these very low Super Formula cars. If you didn't take the sausage curbs right, you would be launched straight up into the air with no idea whereabouts on the track you were going to come down. So yeah, avoiding that at all costs if we can. So using a bit of overtake as we came out of the last corner then, but we're not quite close enough to the car ahead to go for a move down into turn 1. As you can see, we're picking up the slipstream there and gaining time as we do head down into that braking zone. But he gets a little bit of a wobble coming out of turn 2, and then starts to run wide out of turn 3, very wide out there on the runoff area there, and he's going to have dirty tyres for this next corner. So we're going to be able to stick it up the inside, and you'll see just on traction he's going to lose a load of time, and the car behind the Frenchman takes advantage of that as well and moves up another position himself. So coming around the top of the hill then, we can see one of the drivers up ahead has served a short half-second penalty, which is most likely for track limits, and what that has done is enabled us to just start to catch up to that pack ahead that we can see going up to 5th place, I think it is. So we're on the medium tyres for this one, starting on the medium tyres, and there's soft tyres also available. So generally the tyre wear is not too bad, and you can run quite a long time on the softs. As you see, the Portuguese driver there pitting on lap 3, so he's going to run the soft tyres till the end of the race. But we decide to go on to lap 4 before pitting for softs ourselves. We're going to see how this plays out into the later stage of the race. So we're going to have slightly fresher tyres than anyone who's pitted previously, but as you can see, we come out of the pits there and we've been undercut by quite a few drivers who've been able to pit on that first lap. So we're going to have to push quite hard then if we want to make up places here. And we can see the car on the long side from the outside went very deep into turn one, and we get that move done. The car we were battling with on the first lap as well, I think it was. And we can see up ahead then the Frenchman has a penalty as well. So we're going to have to try and push through this first sector and see if we can close up onto the back of him to take advantage of that. And we do just about get that move done when he serves his penalty, breaking down into the hairpin then. A little bit offline where we had to make that overtake, but we get that done nicely. And heading up the hill then, the long right hander. And we're going to jump forwards onto lap 6, and we can see Jay Tailsy up ahead has just come out onto soft tyres himself. But his tyres are going to be 1 lap fresher than ours. So at this stage in the race, we just want to try and stick with him as best we can, and hopefully take advantage when he starts cutting his way through those drivers we see up ahead. So coming around the final corner then to end lap number 6, and you can see that Jay Tailsy up ahead has got a good slipstream over Treviso, and he gets that move done on the straight. We're going to follow down into turn 1, but we're not close enough to go for a move. Treviso does go a little bit defensive there and compromises his exit out of turn 2. And as we come around the long turn 3 then, we're going to see if there's an opportunity going into turn 4, but we're not quite close enough. So we're just going to follow closely through this lap and have a go at the end of the lap then. So coming around the final corner, we're going to use a lot of overtake here, try to give ourselves a boost coming out of the final turn. And you can see here we're picking up the slipstream of Treviso, and in the end it's quite an easy overspeed pass down the straight, and we get that done going into turn 1 and up into 13th place now. Obviously there are going to be a few more drivers up ahead that do need to pit in this race. We've got a bit of clean air now, so we can put in some decent times and try to catch up to the drivers in front, and also undercut any drivers who are pitting. So as we cross the line then, we do set the fastest lap of the race with the 1:26.6, and we can see a driver coming out of the pits then. So that lap has really helped us to gain a couple of positions, and up to 10th then at the start of lap 9. And we can see Jay Tailsy up ahead, going past the Swiss driver through the first couple of corners. We need to try and get right up into the back of him as quickly as we can and try to do the same ourselves. Jump into the end of the lap then, and you can see we have closed that gap up to the Swiss driver ahead. He gets a little bit of a wobble going through those that awkward chicane with the massive sausage curbs. We get a good exit, and then we're going to use a little bit of boost because he's clearly using his boost as well, and we get that move done going around the outside as we head down into turn 1 then, and up to 8th place now with 4 laps to go, and still pushing on and looking like we're going to catch up with some of those drivers up ahead. And you can see here as we finish lap number 11, we have indeed closed up the gap. So we've got 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and ourselves in 8th then. Quite close on the road now, and you can see down in the bottom right hand side of the screen we still have about, or just under a quarter of our overtake left with a couple of laps to go. So at this stage in the race, a lot of other drivers will be close to depleting that overtake altogether. So this is going to give us a bit of advantage going into the final few laps and trying to make a few moves. And then at the end of lap 12 then, you can see the Portuguese driver that's has done 1 lap more on his tyres. We use a lot of overtake coming out of the final corner. We're going to get the pass done on the straight once again, and going on to the final lap then, we still have a tiny bit of overtake left to use to try and take advantage of anything that happens up in front if we get the opportunity. So we can see here Jay Tailsy all over the back of that other Portuguese driver up ahead. He's going to have a look for a move going into turn 4, but the Portuguese driver covers off that move, and we're going to try and follow through. We get a good exit out of turn 4, but we're not quite close enough to go for the move into the next corner. And obviously Jay Tailsy has that extra grip over us with his slightly fresher tyres too. Coming into the final chicane then, and it's very, very close. The Portuguese driver takes a lot of curbs, so does Geltesi, and we're going to get a much better exit than the both of them. We've got a little bit of boost to use, and we come across the line side by side, but we can't quite get past that Portuguese driver up ahead. He just had the slip of Geltesi in front. So 246 points for that race, but we're going to go again, like we said in the intro, because we know there's more pace in the car. We do. Especially when we know that we can use the boost going into this one. We jumped on Key's stream, watched his qualifying lap back, and realised that you can indeed use the boost. So this one we've qualified in 6th place, and I was actually disappointed with this lap because we were going very, very quickly and we took too much curb through that final chicane and lost probably about 4/10. So I think we probably would have been second on the grid had we got that the final chicane right. But anyway, we're going to start on the soft tyres then this time, which should help us to get a good start. And away we go. So our reaction time wasn't quite as good as it was in the previous race, but we haven't lost any positions. Fortunately, no one has spun in front of us, and we get that done up into turn 1 very, very nicely then, using a little bit of overtake just to cover off any moves from behind. And there's a car up our inside. We're forced a little bit wide on the exit of turn 2, but that gives us the inside for turn 3, and we cover that place off. Up ahead then we can see Dino going very, very defensive into turn 4, and he's picked up a 1-second penalty, so there must have been a bit of contact between him and another driver through the first couple of corners. And he goes for a move up the inside, but takes a little bit of curb. I'm not too sure what's gone on there, but he does get another second added to his penalty. So this should be an easy pass for us as we get up the hill and to the penalty serving line. And we're very, very close now to the Portuguese driver ahead. So there may be an opportunity going down into the hairpin as we both pass Dino there. But I think the Portuguese driver might have used a little bit of boost because he starts to pull away as we get towards the braking zone. So we're unable to do anything there, and up the hill then and around the long right-hander just before we get to the final chicane, and we can see we're not too far off the leader, so 3.5 seconds and everything to play for at this stage of the race as we come round the final corner then to complete lap number 1. So jumping forwards then to the end of lap number 2, and you can see it's more or less the same as the previous lap really, with the front 5 cars now starting to pull away from the Portuguese driver in 6th. But we can see we get a better exit than the driver just up ahead, and we're going to use a lot of boost here. We want to get this move done nice and early because we feel like at this stage of the race we are a little bit faster. So a little bit of boost again, and side by side as we go down in the braking zone, we're going to brake nice and late, and we get that move done into turn 1 and up to 4th place now. So the other Portuguese driver up ahead, so we're in a bit of a Portuguese sandwich right now. We were racing against him in the first race, and we did manage to get past him in that one. So this gives us a bit of confidence going forwards into the rest of the race here. And as we come around the top of the hill then on lap number 4, he goes very, very wide out on the rumble strip. That's surely a penalty. And indeed, as we come down into the hairpin then, he picks up a half-second penalty. So we're going to do the smart thing here, and although we're close enough to maybe go for a move on the straight, we're going to save our boost and wait until he serves his penalty, which he does on the following lap, and that's a nice easy move for us, and we've been able to conserve some of that overtake for later on in the race. So looking up ahead then, we're 1.8 seconds behind the German in 2nd place and 3.4 behind Wind in the lead. So at this point we're still in the battle for the win really. We're only a couple of seconds back and there's still more than half the race left, so we just need to get our head down now. We're in a little bit of clear air and see what our pace is in comparison to the 2 drivers just up the road ahead. Jumping forwards though onto the end of lap number 6, and we go a little bit hot into the first part of the chicane and then get absolutely launched through the second part. And honestly, I thought I was a goner there. I don't know how I managed to keep it on the road and not end up in the gravel or spin, but we do manage to survive. We've lost a chunk of time though, and what this means is we're now going to be at a bit of a risk of getting undercut from some of the drivers who pitted early on in the race. So although the leaders go around to begin lap number 9 on soft tyres, we're going to move over to the mediums just to cover off any potential undercuts because we are a couple of seconds back. So as we come out of the pits then, we can see Mario Sonic up behind, getting very, very close as we come into turn 1. So we made the right call there. I think if we'd done another lap on those softs that were starting to get a little bit old, I reckon Mario might have just been able to get the undercut on us. So we come out the pits at the right time, but we've still got a little bit of work to do as he's very, very close looking into turn 4. We need to make sure we don't mess up. We've got those cold tyres, but they should start to be up to temperature very, very soon. Coming through turn 5 then, and you can see still very, very close, just 2 tenths behind. But these next few corners are quite hard to follow through with the dirty air. So as we come around the top of the hill then, we gain a little bit of time on Mario behind, which means he's not going to be close enough to go for a move down into the hairpin. And then as we take the hairpin, we turn in a little bit late, but we get quite good traction on the exit and start to pull away a little bit from Mario up the hill. And we're going to use some overtake going around the final corner of the lap then, and we're now outside of that slipstream range to Mario behind. So fortunately we've been able to fend it off, and I still think that was the right call to pit on that lap. So lap number 11 then, we can see the German has taken his pit stop. So he's going to be on much fresher medium tyres than we are, and yeah, we didn't really gain too much time on him, just 1.8 seconds now between us. But he's probably going to start pulling away as he's just going to have a little bit more pace on the newer tyres. So it's going to look like, well, it's looking like we're going to be able to finish in 3rd place, providing Dino hasn't somehow managed to massively undercut us and trick us. But as we come around to be in lap number 12 then, and both Wind and Dean take their pit stops, and we're back up to 3rd place, 4.2 behind the leader. But obviously Wind's going to be on much fresher medium tyres than we are, so there's not much we can do from this point. We just need to make sure we don't make any mistakes, we don't hit those sausages again, and we come across the line there to finish in 3rd place, P3. So we get that podium that we missed out on in the last race around the final corner then, and we earn ourselves 293 points. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe check out some of the other videos from races we've done recently. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.